Hello petals, my name is Anais. I am a womb witch, a Rahani energy teacher, and a plant alchemist. Under Unfurling Alchemy, I guide women in reconnecting with their power, awakening their essence, and step into sovereignty. In these episodes, I am going to approach topics around womb mysteries, energy healing, and cyclic living. Hello petals, in this episode, I want to talk to you about why you are exhausted by your own strength. Because somewhere along the way, you became the person who holds everything together. The one who figures it out. The one who does not ask for help. The one who, even when help is offered, finds a way to say, no, thank you, I'm fine, I'm okay, no, I'm alright. And you have been so fine for so long that you have almost forgotten what it feels like not to have to be. And I want to talk about this because I think it's one of the most invisible forms of exhaustion there is. Because from the outside, it does not look like struggle. It looks like capability. It looks like competence. It looks like strength. It looks like someone who has it all together. And so it feels like nobody sees it. Nobody offers help in the way you actually need it. And even if they did, you would not know how to receive it. And this is what I would like to explore today. Not just the exhaustion, but where it actually came from and what it is costing you. For many of the women I worked with and for myself, this pattern did not just arrive in adulthood. It was something built much earlier than that. It was actually built in households where you had to grow up faster than you should have, where you had to be more responsible than your age, where you had to support emotionally or practically or both the adults around you, where needing something felt either dangerous or unavailable or simply not an option. And so you learned how to do it yourself. You learned how to need less. You learned to be strong because strong was the only thing that worked. Strong kept you safe. Strong kept things functioning. Strong was how you survived in an environment that did not have enough space for your needs. And that intelligence, because it absolutely is intelligence, is what your system ended up doing. And it was doing exactly what it needed to do, but then it followed you into adulthood. Into your friendships, into your work, into your relationships, into every area of your life. The little girl who learned to hold everything herself became the woman who still holds everything herself. Even when the environment has completely changed, even when your life has completely changed, even when there are people around you and around her who genuinely want to help. And this is where it gets complicated - interesting, because it's not just that you don't ask for help. It is that even when help is offered, you cannot say yes. Something in you just resists it. Something just tightens. You find a reason why you don't need it. You redirect it. You minimize it. You take over. Because allowing someone to help feels so deeply uncomfortable in a way that is very hard to explain. Because it feels like losing control. It feels like weakness. It feels unsafe. It feels unsafe somehow, even when on paper it is completely safe. And I remember when I first started dating my husband, we would be in the kitchen preparing dinner together and he would offer to help. Like, for example, to cut vegetables, something so absolutely small, something so absolutely, just ordinary. And I could not let him. Something in me would just not allow it, and I would just take over. I would find a reason why I needed to do it myself. And he would look at me sometimes with this confusion, like, I'm just trying to help, like, why won't you let me? Why won't you let me in? And I did not have the answer at the time because I did not understand it myself. It was not like a decision that I was consciously making. It was a pattern so deeply embedded in me that I felt like this is just the way I am, right? I am someone really independent. I am someone who does things myself. I do not need help. But what I have come to understand is that What I was calling independence was actually something else entirely. It was a survivor strategy that I had outlived and that had outlived its purpose as well. It was a young part of me that still was operating as if needing help was dangerous or unsafe or unwelcome. Still doing what she had learned to do in a household where she had been older than her age, where she had to hold things together because she just had to, and she had to hold things together before she was actually ready to. Where softening and receiving and asking for what she needed simply wasn't an option. And that pattern, left alone, left unprocessed and unexamined, is exhausting because you are carrying everything all the time. Even the things that you don't need to carry, even the things other people are actively trying to take from your hands, you hold on, you manage, you cope, and you call it strength. But I want to offer a little bit of reframing here. What if it is not strength? What if it is an armor? Because real strength includes the ability to receive. Real strength knows when to put something down. Real strength can look at someone who loves you and say, yes, actually, I would love your help with that. Real strength does not need to do anything alone or everything alone to feel safe. The exhaustion you are feeling is not a signal that you need to push harder or organize better, get another planner, become more efficient. It is a sign that you have been carrying too much for too long. And that somewhere inside you, there is a part that is desperate to put some things down. That is desperate to be held for once, instead of always being the one doing the holding. And I want to name something here that I think gets missed in these conversations. The inability to receive is not just about the practicalities. It's not just about letting someone cut the onions or the vegetables or help with the shopping or take something off your plate at work. It runs so much deeper than that. It shows up in your relationships with abundance, with money, with love, with compliment, with good things that are coming to you. There is a part of you that does not quite know how to let good things in. That deflects, that minimizes, that finds a way to give it back or push it away or qualify it with something. And that capacity to receive, to soften, to let support and abundance and love actually land, that lives in your womb. Your womb is not just about fertility or physical cycles. It is the energetical center of your ability to receive and your sense of worth, of knowing that you deserve to be held as much as to hold others. And when you are living in this constant state of hyper independence, when you are always in the doing mode, always managing, always strong, you are operating almost entirely from a contracted, defended place. And that contraction cuts you off from your own capacity to receive, from your softness, from the parts of you that are actually knowing how to let life in rather than just managing it. The work is not about becoming less capable. You are absolutely extraordinarily capable. And that is real and it does absolutely matter. The work is about adding something to that capacity. The ability to also soften. The ability to ask. To also receive. To let the people who love you actually love you. To let good things land without immediately finding a reason to dismiss it or to give it back. And that balance between the strength that gets things done and the softness that allows things in is where this real, beautiful, juicy aliveness lives. It's where we find this balance between our inner masculine and our inner feminine. So I want to leave you with a question again. Where in your life are you holding something that you don't actually have to hold alone? Not as a criticism, not as a reason to feel bad about yourself or how you have been doing the things so far, but as a genuine inquiry. Because somewhere in the answer to that question is the beginning of something different. It is a breadcrumb, a thread for you to follow. The beginning of putting something down. The beginning of letting someone in, of discovering what becomes possible when you stop carrying everything by yourself. What are you holding that you do not have to hold alone? And just sit with that for a moment. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I see you in the next one, Smile Petal. Bye.